started with Harley, I'm taking a NYX Micro Brow Pencil to outline the shape of her mask, and I am using several different reference photos for this as a guide. And you can see as I go along, I do modify the shape quite a bit, so don't worry about getting it perfect the first time around, but be sure to use a pencil or something else that's really easy to wipe away so that that shape is easily modified. You may have to play around with the shape to get it to look right on your face. Then once we have the basic shape for the mask outlined, we're going to outline the holes for the eyes. And depending on how you want to do your eyeshadow, you may want to make these holes bigger or smaller. I started out with mine a bit too small, but again, that's super easy to just clean up and modify. So now I'm taking a white cream makeup on a damp beauty blender, and I'm first working that on the back of my hand just to soften it up a bit, and then I'm just going to start stippling that all over the face, everywhere outside of the mask and down to the jawline. I'm starting out by just applying a light layer all over, and then I'll go back in with another layer to make it super white and opaque and help blend and smooth everything out. And I'm using the pointy end of the beauty blender to get into those smaller areas. Once we have that nice smooth white base, I'm going in with a colorless powder and pressing that all over the face to really set that cream makeup, and then I'm using a powder brush to wipe away any excess powder. And I'm using a smaller fluffy eyeshadow brush to get into those smaller areas. Then I'm contouring my face using a medium gray-brown eyeshadow. Nothing too crazy here, just contouring along the cheekbones and under the bottom lip and also the nose. Moving on to the eyes, I'm first applying an eyeshadow base all over the lids and underneath the eyes, blending that out with a brush, and then this is where I modified my eye hole shape so it was a bit bigger and I had more room for my eyeshadow. Then I'm applying a red eyeshadow to my right lid, packing that on up to the crease and then blending it out. And then I didn't do this when I first filmed, but I did when we shot the intro footage. I applied an orange eyeshadow over top to kind of get rid of that pinky tone. And here I'm applying a good amount of the colorless powder underneath the eyes so that if I have any fallout, it'll be really easy to just brush it away. Then on the other eye, I'm doing the same thing, except I'm using a matte black eyeshadow. Then I'm using a clean blending brush to blend and soften up those edges. I'm also applying these colors along the lower lash line, again using that same brush to blend out the edges. Then I'm using a black water activated body paint to line and fill in the entire mask. And then we don't want to forget to wipe away that powder that we put underneath the eyes before doing the bottom part of the mask. And I'm using the Sigma Tightline brush for this. It's just a small, square, flat brush that's really great for getting along all the edges, and it's the perfect size to fill in this mask. Then once we have our mask all filled in, I'm going in with a dark brown matte eyeshadow and blending that along the edges of the mask to create a little bit of a shadow underneath. This will help to make the mask look like it's sitting on top of our face a little bit rather than just flat on our face. You'll also want to do this along the edges of those eye holes. I also decided to take this shading down into some Harley Quinn lines, so I'm doing that above and below the mask, and I'm making them pretty subtle here, and when I did it for the intro I made them a bit darker, so you can choose how dark or light you want them. Then once I have all of the shading done, I'm going back in with the black body paint on that tightline brush and just redefining and darkening all the edges. Once the black paint's totally dry, I'm going in with a white water-activated body paint on a small detail brush, and I'm going to start adding some highlights around the mask. I'm applying these highlights where the mask curves, and I'm going to use my finger to kind of blend out the ends, and then I am going to apply a little bit extra to the center of each of those lines to add a little more pop. Then I also decided to add little highlights around the inner and outer corners of those eye holes. Again, adding that bright pop to the center of those highlights. Then once I have the rest of the mask highlighted, I'm going in and just curling my lashes and applying a black eyeliner to my waterline all the way around. I'm also going to smudge this up onto the top and lower lash line just using my finger. And then applying some black mascara to top and bottom lashes, and feel free to add falsies here if you want to. So now the mask and eyes are totally done, and now I'm going to take some more of that red eyeshadow and apply it along where we applied the cheek contour, and then I also did apply that orange eyeshadow on top to get rid of that pinky tone. For the lips, I wanted to go super dark, so I'm using the NYX Simply Vamp Lip Cream in She Devil along with the Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Transylvania. I'm first applying that pencil all over the lips as a base, and here you can see I'm flattening out and kind of curving up where my Cupid's bow is, and then I'm going to go over top of that pencil with the Soft Matte Lip Cream. So that's going to complete the face makeup, and now we're going to paint on a little collar, and you don't have to do this obviously if you have a collar as part of your costume, but I'm starting out with that black body paint and just painting on a thick black choker, and then underneath that I'm painting on a thick white line to start off her jester collar, and then I decided to outline the shape of that jester collar using again that NYX Micro Brow Pencil. I had several reference photos for this and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with it at first, so I thought it'd be nice to outline the shapes and then fill them in later. So once I have my outline done, I'm just filling in that entire area using the white water activated paint. Then I switched to a smaller brush to define the lines more, and don't mind that I'm using totally random like eyeshadow brushes for this. I realized while I was doing it that I didn't have any brushes left that were clean, so that's what happens sometimes. So then I am using a baby wipe to help clean up my edges. And then to help even that color out a little bit, I'm stippling over top some of the white cream makeup. You want to be sure to powder that, and then I'm going in with that dark brown eyeshadow, and like we did around the mask, I'm going to shade around the entire collar. Again, I'm using that clean blending brush to soften up the edges. And then I'm also adding some of these shading lines inside the collar to create the look of a dip in the fabric. And then you'll want to shade along the edges of that black choker as well. I decided to add a little bit darker of a shadow to those little dips in the fabric, and then I'm going to start outlining the entire collar. And for this, I'm switching back to the black body paint. I'm adding some of this to those little dips in the fabric to deepen those shadows even more. And as I was going along, I decided to make these lines thicker, and then while the paint was still wet, use a blending brush, and I think I used a pencil brush for this, to blend that out to create more of a shadow. Then I'm taking that black body paint on the tightliner brush and I'm just cleaning up the edges of the choker, and then like I did on the mask, I'm going to add some white highlights to the choker as well. Then once we've done that, the makeup is totally done and I'm going to add my wig and my costume. This wig is the one I used for my Annie Attack on Titan look last year. I just put it in some pigtails and then sprayed the ends red and black. And then the costume was very graciously provided by Leg Avenue, and it is the Jingle Jester. And then I also hand sewed on some black diamonds to this as well. For the shoes, I just used some boots that I had thrifted and spray painted black and added red and black ribbon for the laces. I bought a toy gun in the Harley section of the Halloween store, and then the mallet I actually made myself. And I am going to have a video about that, but I'm not sure if it's going to be up soon or after Halloween. So stay tuned for that. It will be linked somewhere once it's available. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this look, and please remember to check all of the links and information down in the description box if you have any questions. And thank you to my sister of Samantha Little Photography for helping me shoot the intro footage and photos. I will have her information linked down below as well. So again, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.